You look back at the game on Sunday, just talk about just some of the positives and negatives that you saw from Aaron and the rest of the offense.
Yeah, I thought Aaron played, a fantastic game. Obviously, he was mobile. He was able to move around a little bit. We were able to use some movement throws and keepers and things like that. I was really, really proud of the guys for how they won their one-on-ones on the perimeter. I thought G played outstanding. I thought Devontae played well, ran hard after the catch. I thought there was a lot to be proud of. Obviously, the negatives, we had a couple of stalled drives there in the fourth quarter and, a couple of things that really hurt us in the red zone. We got to be able to put sevens up there and reward our team for the hard work of getting down there. So got to improve those areas and, got to finish the game, victorious to be able to enjoy all the fruits of our labor.
How do you get more of the performance that you saw more in the first half than what you saw probably in the second 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think we came out of halftime with a touchdown drive, so there was much more consistency. We just need to make the plays we're afforded the opportunity to make and not shoot ourselves in the foot with some little things, and I think we can be more consistent.
On your last drive, 3 plays, I think you used only about 20 seconds. Could you just go through the thought process there on each of those 3 plays and what led
you talking about the final 3 plays of regulation?
Yeah.
Other than the 7-second one? Yeah. So we got the first down to Alan Lazard on the keeper, and that was a chunk play to I think about the 27 or 28 yard line. I called a run play out of 21H. Our 2 rookie backs were in there. It was out of the same formation that we had done multiple other things. So we thought we'd get an advantage to be able to get a edge run there, trying to stay aggressive. Whole mindset being we're in 4-minute mode. We certainly want to chew clock, make them use their timeouts. But we want to try to get a first down. We couldn't have expired the clock the whole way. We knew that. But if we had gained another first down, we could have taken it all the way down and banged a timeout and kicked a field goal as time expired. So we run the play out of the 2-back look, and they gave us basically a goal line presentation. They gapped out everything up front. Wasn't a very good run. Scheme for that, we would have had to hard reach the front side and zone it, but certainly thought we'd get back to the line of scrimmage or a 1 or 2 yard gain. We weren't able to execute that, and we had the 5-yard loss. So in the vein of staying aggressive, I called our bread and butter quick game concept, and unfortunately we didn't have the time to get back to G. I think you guys have all probably seen G was running down the middle of the field. We weren't able to capitalize there. I thought it was a good decision by Aaron to take the sack because, obviously we were in 4-minute mode there. It's a lot like when you run a keeper and, try to fool them in 4 minutes and end up sliding to keep the clock running or make them use timeouts. And then on the last play, there was a run called with a tag on the outside in case they gave us, the look they gave us. They jammed out the front, which means they covered all the offensive linemen. We wouldn't have had a blocker for the Mike linebacker. And at that point, it was a 56-yard field goal. So we knew we needed to get some yards. And so you go through this evaluation process. Is it more important to run the ball, keep the clock running, or to get more yards to make it an easier field goal? I think we took it from a 56-yard field goal to a 42-yard field goal. Obviously, that drastically increases your chances of making it. There's also a thought process there that you don't want to have a lost yardage run versus a bad look or a 0-yard run, and then you happen to not make the field goal and they get the ball in midfield. So all those things came into play as we had those timeouts. As we made Miami expire their timeouts, we had all those conversations. We end up throwing the ball to Devontae on the fade adjustment, and he catches it. You can see him trying to backpedal to stay in bounds. I thought Fuller did a nice job of keeping him up and throwing him out of bounds. But ultimately, I was talking with a couple guys on it. Could we have had an A+ result and fallen down there and expired more of the clock? We could have. We couldn't have expired the entire clock. But, I was proud of some of the things we did to put ourselves in position to win.
What have you seen from the rookie backs this season and in that game?
Yeah, there's a play I hope you guys can highlight for me. Braylon Allen runs a cross-sift protection and wheels and pins Calais Campbell so that we can throw the ball down the field to Garrett Wilson. That play encapsulates who those guys are. They'll do anything to help us win. They're eager and excited to get better at techniques that are new for them, run schemes that are new for them. those guys are an absolute pleasure to be around at all times. And I was so happy for Isaiah. He's been working with Tony Dews on his outside zone tracks, and we call that outside zone on the 17. And he stretches and gets vertical, and then Allen has a great block on the backside. Isaiah's able to find his way into the end zone. It was fun to watch their hard work come to fruition in so many cool ways. So,
What would you all say the mindset of the team and just the coaching staff now that the team has been officially eliminated from playoff contention?
Honestly, I won't say that it's changed too much. We know that it's been a tough year most of the year, and so when we've gotten inside these four walls, it's really been a focus on a collaborative effort and the relationships that we have together. And the results haven't been there, but the relationships have. And those will continue to sustain regardless of what our record is or whether we're playoff eligible or not. We got a lot of guys that love each other in that locker room and that meeting room, and feel fortunate to work with those guys every day. So I don't anticipate it changing much.
Aaron keeps talking about the 30-point mark being a goal. It seems to be a little bit come close, elusive. Is that a topic of conversation each week?
Gosh, Rich, it feels like it's getting further and further away every game. Every time I look up, I think we're going to get it, and then we're just short. No, it's that's obviously a mark. I think when we talk about the 30-point mark, and when Aaron references that, I think when you score 30 as an offense, you feel like you've had a good day regardless of how you get there, and that you've put the team in a good position to win. And certainly there are games that are shootouts and you could lose scoring 30. But when you go home at night, you lay your head on the pillow. If you scored 30 points, you feel like you did your job, to a winning level, at least as far as good offenses are concerned. Unfortunately, we haven't hit that mark, and we've been close a couple of times, and we've missed some opportunities that would have put us over that mark. It seems like cruel coincidence that there's so many times we've been so close to 30, and if you look back at the box score, you say, well, if you would have got 30, you'd have a W. So we're going to keep striving for that number and keep trying to find ways to improve situationally, and hopefully we get a couple 30s here before the season's over.
What do you see from this Jacksonville defense just heading into this game?
One more time, sorry.
Jacksonville defense, just what do you see from them heading into this game?
Yeah, I hope it's something that can be said about us, is that regardless of record or regardless of statistical rankings, they play hard. And, they have some really talented edge rushers. I was in that division for a little while, so I know some of those players and have a lot of respect for their game. I think their linebackers do a nice job of playing downhill and playing physical. And certainly in the secondary, they have some experience in the safety position and guys that, can make plays on the football. We're going to have to be on top of our stuff. They play with a high energy and high effort, but realize that, we're in similar situations that, we're playing for pride or playing for, each other. Both these teams are, but I expect them to give us everything they got.